Hello, welcome to Unlocking Buddhism. Have you ever started something new, full of motivation, and for a few days, maybe it is, you sit in silence, take deep breaths, try to be more present, but then, nothing happens, no breakthrough, no peace, just a quiet, restless mind, and slowly, without even noticing, you stop. But what if that silence wasn't failure? What if it was the very beginning of something real? We live in a world that celebrates fast results, quick fixes, instant answers. So when growth feels slow or invisible, we assume we're doing it wrong. But that's not how real change works. Real change is like a seed. You plant it, water it, and for a while, you see nothing. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming, foundations are being built, and without those roots, nothing would last. Maybe you've already started to grow. Maybe just by sitting with yourself, by trying again, even when it feels hard. You've already taken the first step. That's what we're here to explore today. Why we give up too soon, what blind faith misses, and how quiet observation can transform everything, even when it looks like nothing is happening. If at any point this resonates with you, just leave one word in the comments: roots. It's a small word, but it says a lot. You ever notice how excited we are at the beginning of something new? We buy the book, sign up for the course, roll out the yoga mat, light the incense, and think, this time, it's going to be different. This time, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to meditate every day. I'm going to find inner peace. I'm going to finally change. And for a few days, we do. But then, something strange happens. Nothing. No magical peace. No deep enlightenment. Just us sitting there, wondering if we're doing it wrong. And slowly, quietly, we stop. This happens more often than we care to admit. Not because we're lazy, not because we're weak, but because of a silent expectation sitting deep inside our minds. The expectation that results should be fast, and they should feel like something big. We expect fireworks, a spiritual high, a breakthrough. But real transformation? It's almost never loud. It's quiet, subtle, like watching grass grow. And let me tell you a quick story. Imagine a child plants a seed in a pot. So she does. She waters it, puts it by the window, checks it every day. But after 2 days, nothing. No sprout, no leaves, just dirt. She gets frustrated. The seed must be broken, she thinks. What she doesn't realize is that beneath the soil, something is absolutely happening. Roots are forming. The seed is waking up. But because she can't see it yet, she gives up. That's exactly how our minds work. When we don't see change, we assume there is no change. We're so used to quick feedback. Click a button, get a result. That when we try something like meditation or mindfulness, which works slowly, invisibly, our modern brain panics. We crave evidence, and when it doesn't come fast, we jump ship. But here's the truth most people miss. If you've sat down to meditate for even 5 minutes today, and your mind was loud, distracted, impatient, but you stayed, that's a win. That's your first root breaking through the shell of the seed. Still not convinced? Okay. Imagine this. Your mind is a wild puppy. It runs everywhere, jumps on the furniture, bites the cushions, chases its tail. And now, for the first time, you're trying to train it to sit. And it runs in circles. And it barks at a shadow. And it pees on the rug. Does that mean the training isn't working? No. It just means the puppy's never been trained before. The process has started. It's messy. It takes time. The same goes for training the mind. But here's what most people do. They expect the puppy to sit like a show dog after one lesson. What we forget is that every moment of practice is part of the training. Even the moments that feel like failure. The moment you notice you're distracted and gently bring your attention back, that's a push-up for your brain. The moment you want to quit but stay just 1 minute longer, that's discipline growing. The moment you realize you didn't yell back at someone today, even though you really wanted to, that's wisdom rooting itself deeper. And here's something even more wild. Sometimes we are changing, but we don't even realize it. Because the mind compares progress to where we want to be, not where we started. We forget how anxious we used to feel, how reactive. We forget the nights we couldn't sleep, the arguments we used to pick, the chaos that once felt normal. Just because we don't feel like we've made it yet, doesn't mean we haven't come far. So why do we quit? Because we were never taught to recognize quiet progress. We were trained to look for fireworks, when sometimes the real miracle is just stillness. You sat, you breathed, you tried, you noticed. That is enough. The problem isn't that we can't grow. It's that we expect growth to feel like something big and dramatic. But growth is a slow unfurling. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's the same breath, again and again. And yet, it's sacred. If you stick with it, even when it's dull, even when it's frustrating, the results will come. Not like a lightning bolt, but like the sun rising on a garden you forgot you planted. That's the kind of result worth waiting for. And this brings us to something people rarely talk about, because it's a little uncomfortable. If sticking with something is so powerful, if real growth comes from quiet, consistent effort, then why do some people persist for years and still feel stuck? It's not just about patience, it's about how you're practicing. Because there's a hidden trap. It's possible to keep showing up, but in a way that never really works. Why? Because you're practicing with blind faith. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's go back to our metaphor from before. Imagine our friend who planted a seed and watered it every day. But instead of sunlight, she put the pot in the closet. Instead of fresh water, she poured soda on it. She keeps going, every single day, faithfully, but the plant never grows. Is she committed? Yes. Is she doing her best? Probably. Is it working? Not really. That's blind faith. It's when you follow a process with all your heart, but without checking if that process makes sense, without asking questions, without observing what's actually happening. And here's the twist. Most of us were raised to think that asking questions means we don't have faith. But the truth is, real faith, wise faith, includes curiosity. It includes observation. Blind faith says, just keep going. Wise faith says, keep going, but pay attention, learn. Let me give you an example. Say you sit down to meditate every morning. You light your candle, close your eyes, breathe. But instead of noticing your breath, you're silently replaying your to-do list, worrying about what your boss will say, or planning dinner. You can spend years going in circles. Wise faith says, it's okay if this is hard. It's like trying to bake a cake. You don't just throw things in the oven and hope for the best. You taste, you check the heat, you read the recipe, you make sure the ingredients are right. You don't just believe the cake will bake, you participate. So many people quit their practice not because they're impatient, but because they practiced the wrong way for too long and lost trust in the entire process. That's why wise faith matters. Wise faith includes a sense of responsibility. It asks you to show up, not like a robot following instructions, but like a partner in the journey. It says, yes, I trust this path, but I also trust my ability to see, to feel, to reflect. If something's off, I will investigate. That's not doubt. That's intelligence. And ironically, it's what makes your faith stronger, not weaker. So if you've been feeling stuck, like your effort isn't landing, maybe it's not your discipline that's the problem. Maybe it's time to shift from doing it right to doing it wisely. And that leads us straight into something powerful, something most people don't even realize they're capable of. So now that we've explored what it means to practice with wisdom, not blindly, not mechanically, but with awareness, there's something even deeper to understand. Something so simple that we often overlook it. Yet it's the very heart of transformation. It's the power of just observing. Yes, just watching, just noticing. No doing, no fixing, no analyzing, no judging. Just seeing what's there. Now, I get it. That might sound way too passive, like it's not enough, like we should be doing something. We live in a world obsessed with doing, solving, achieving, and just watching sounds almost lazy, right? But stay with me, because this is where things start to shift in a way that can change your inner world forever. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really observed your own mind? Not just noticed that you were stressed or angry or distracted, but really sat with it, watched it move, listen to what it was saying beneath the noise. Most of us don't do that. Not because we can't, but because we're terrified of what we'll find. We're scared that if we sit with our fear, it'll grow. That if we look at our sadness, it'll swallow us. That if we face our anger, we'll become it. So we keep running. We distract ourselves, entertain ourselves, drown the discomfort in noise, in activity, in numbing habits. But what happens when we stop? What happens when we sit down, breathe, and look? At first, chaos. That's totally normal. It's like walking into a messy room with the lights finally turned on. It was always messy, but now you see it. And that's where most people quit. They think, this is awful. No, it's not. It's showing you what was already there. And if you stay, gently, without rushing to clean up the mess, something begins to shift. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine you're standing in a river. The current is strong. Leaves and branches and mud are rushing by. And for your whole life, you've been fighting that current, grabbing things, pushing things, trying to make sense of it all. But one day you just stop. You stand still. You let the water move around you. And in that stillness, the mud begins to settle. The water clears. You start to see, not because the river changed, but because you did. Observation works the same way. The mind settles when you stop stirring it, but it only settles when you stop interfering. And I don't mean you have to sit on a cushion for hours in perfect silence. This isn't about being a monk on a mountain. You can observe anywhere. You can observe your thoughts while brushing your teeth. You can observe your breath while waiting in line. You can observe your emotions in the middle of a hard conversation. What matters is the quality of your attention. Think of it like this. Your mind is like a garden, and every thought, every emotion, every reaction, it's a seed. Most people run around that garden yanking weeds and pouring water on everything, hoping something nice grows. But the wise gardener? They slow down. They look. They see which plants are thriving, which ones are choking the others. They don't rush. They observe. And in that observation, they learn how to tend the garden with care. Let me give you a real-world example. Let's say you're trying to overcome jealousy. It's ugly, right? No one likes to admit they feel it. So what do most people do? They try to suppress it. They shame themselves. But what if you just observed it? What if you said, here it is. This tightness in my chest. This burning in my gut. You don't push it away. You don't feed it. You just watch. Over time, jealousy stops being a monster under the bed and becomes a teacher. You learn what you value, what you fear, what you long for, and you can respond with compassion instead of shame. This is how observation heals. But there's a key: consistency. The mind doesn't change from a single moment of insight. It changes through repetition, through showing up again and again. Not perfectly, not forcefully, but faithfully. Even if all you do is spend 30 seconds noticing your breath each day, that matters. Even if you only catch yourself reacting after the explosion, that moment of awareness is a crack in the pattern. Little by little, your mind begins to trust that it doesn't need to panic, doesn't need to run, doesn't need to defend. It learns to rest in the quiet presence of your own attention, because when you stop judging the mind stops judging you. And in that space, something rare grows. Clarity, stability, freedom. Not the kind that comes from escaping pain, but the kind that comes from being with it and realizing it doesn't own you. That is the power of pure observation. And as we'll see next, there's one thing that can ruin this entire process, even if you're doing everything right. A trap that sneaks in when we least expect it and convinces us that we've made no progress at all. By now, we've seen how faith and observation, when practiced wisely, can truly shift the inner landscape. But even when we're doing everything right, there's one invisible trap that quietly creeps in and poisons the process. It's subtle, it's sneaky, and it fools even the most sincere practitioners. It's the trap of expectation. Expectation sounds innocent, right? It's just wanting a result. But expectation, when it comes to inner work, doesn't sit quietly in the background. It takes over. It turns your practice into a performance. It adds pressure. It distorts your perception. Because when you meditate with expectation, you're not really observing your breath. You're observing whether your breath is doing something for you. You're not watching your mind with patience. You're scanning it for signs of progress, and when you don't find any, you feel defeated. And that's where the illusion kicks in. You start to believe you're not growing, that nothing's changing, that this path might not be for you. But let's zoom out for a moment. Imagine you're watching a child grow. Your niece, your cousin, your own kid. You see them every single day. From one day to the next, they don't look very different. But show someone who hasn't seen them in a year and they say, wow, that's how inner growth works. It's not obvious in the day-to-day. It's slow, gradual, mostly invisible. And because you live inside your own head, you don't notice the changes piling up. You don't notice that you're not yelling as quickly, that you recover faster from setbacks, that you pause more often before reacting, that your breath deepens in moments that used to overwhelm you. These are subtle things. They don't come with trumpets and confetti. They come quietly, in whispers, and expectation, if left unchecked, makes you deaf to those whispers. You might be making incredible progress, but if it doesn't match the picture in your head of what progress should look like, you dismiss it, and you miss what really matters. That today, you showed up anyway. That today, you made space for silence. That today, you tried to meet your mind with kindness, even if it didn't behave. You see, expectation isn't just about wanting a result. It's about defining what the result should look like and when it should happen. And here's the thing. Inner growth doesn't follow your schedule. It doesn't arrive on command. It shows up when the conditions are right, when you stop squeezing it, when you stop rushing it, when you stop trying to achieve something, and instead open to whatever arises. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine you're trying to fall asleep. You lie in bed and you keep thinking, okay, here it comes. I should be falling asleep now. The more you try to sleep, the more it slips away. Sleep doesn't respond to effort. It responds to relaxation. Same with wisdom. Same with peace. Same with insight. They don't come because you grab for them. They come when you become still enough to receive them. That's what keeps you grounded. That's what protects you from the illusion of no progress. And yes, there will be days that feel dull, days you feel like quitting, days you wonder if any of this is real. That's okay. Those are actually some of the most important days. Because when you stay even through that, without reward, without fireworks, you're no longer practicing for an outcome. You're practicing because it's who you are becoming, and that changes the entire game. Next, we'll talk about what it means to truly embody that change. How to walk the path with clarity and balance. No longer pulled by impatience or fear, but anchored in something deeper, a commitment to living with wisdom, no matter what comes. So here we are, at a crossroads in the journey. You've probably felt it at some point, maybe even right now, that quiet inner whisper, I know I want to grow. And that's completely okay, because the truth is, this path, the path of waking up, of becoming more conscious, isn't linear. It's not a straight road with signs that say, congratulations. It's more like walking in the forest. Some days are clear and sunny. The trail is smooth. The birds are singing. You feel connected, aligned, alive. And other days, it's foggy. The path disappears beneath your feet. You get turned around. You wonder if you're lost. You can't remember why you started in the first place. But here's what changes everything. You keep walking anyway. Not because you're chasing a finish line, not because someone told you to, but because somewhere deep inside, you've realized something essential. This practice of presence, of attention, of compassion, is no longer something you do to get somewhere. It's how you choose to live. And this is where faith and clarity, two forces that seem to pull in opposite directions, finally meet. Clarity is what helps you see. Faith is what helps you stay. Clarity shows you when you've wandered. Faith says, that's okay. Clarity notices when ego hijacks your progress, when expectation creeps in, when the mind wants control. This kind of faith isn't blind. It's the kind of faith that believes in growth even when you feel stuck, that trusts your practice even when it feels boring, that understands that peace is not always a feeling. Sometimes it's a choice. Now, to walk this path with wisdom doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you don't let doubt become your map. It means you don't confuse tiredness with failure, or stillness with stagnation, or discomfort with danger. It means you learn to walk with your eyes open and your heart soft, to meet the moment without needing it to impress you, to meet yourself without needing to be impressive. It means learning to ask better questions, because that's the shift. You stop practicing to escape yourself. You start practicing to meet yourself, even the parts you don't like, even the parts that still feel tangled or raw or unfinished, especially those parts. You begin to see that wisdom doesn't come from avoiding suffering. It comes from understanding it, from sitting with it, from listening to what it's trying to show you, not to punish, but to wake you up. And one day, after months or years of showing up, often with no applause, no big revelations, you catch yourself reacting differently. You pause where you used to explode. You breathe where you used to brace. You stay where you used to run. You don't even realize it at first. But something has shifted, and not because you forced it, but because you walked with faith, and you looked with clarity, and you kept walking, even when the path disappeared under your feet. This is wisdom, not as an idea, not as something you say, but as something you live. You begin to carry it in your posture, in your silence, in the way you listen, even when no one's watching. It becomes the way you move through the world, the way you relate to others, the way you forgive yourself, the way you trust life, even when it's uncertain. You don't need to explain. They feel it. You've become a quiet presence in a noisy world, not because you figured everything out, but because you've learned how to stay. You've learned how to sit in discomfort without making it your identity. You've learned how to let go without losing yourself. And most importantly, you've learned that the path is not something you walk toward. It's something you walk with. So if today feels slow, if the fog is thick, if your heart is tired, good. That means you're doing the real work. Keep walking. Not fast, not perfectly, just honestly. That's all wisdom ever asked of you. So maybe nothing dramatic happened today. Maybe you sat in silence, waiting for something big, and it never came. No lightning bolt, no perfect peace, just you, sitting, breathing, trying. But let me ask you this. What if that is the work? What if the real shift isn't loud or obvious? What if it happens quietly in the background of your life? In those tiny moments when you don't quit, when you pause instead of react, when you notice instead of run, when you stay present even when everything in you wants to escape. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's strength. That's wisdom growing deep inside you. Roots forming beneath the surface, silent, steady, invisible, but essential. Because the strongest trees don't rise overnight. They grow down first. They take time. They take storms. They take seasons. And so do we. That's the truth we're rarely told. That transformation doesn't always feel like progress. That healing doesn't always look like success. And that real faith isn't loud or perfect. It's honest. It's the choice to keep walking, even when the path disappears under your feet. So if you feel like nothing's changing, pause. Look again. Maybe the change is already happening, just not where you expected. If this message found you today, if something inside you softened, even a little, leave just one word in the comments, roots. That one word says, I'm here, I'm growing, I'm not giving up. And if this space gave you peace, consider subscribing, not for more noise, but for more reminders that you're not alone in the quiet. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fast. You just need to stay. Until next time, keep growing.